Welcome to the podcast. Today's guest is Lewis Porter. Lewis, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dom. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. All trying to keep busy. Obviously, a podcast today is doing that at the minute. I'm trying to build up a bit of a buffer, just in case I had internet issues yesterday. So, obviously, if I get trouble with the internet and I'm due to upload that day, then I'm going to be in a bit of trouble.
No, definitely, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, well, good. So, how are you? Before we go into a bit of an intro, how are you coping in this lockdown period? Are you keeping busy or?
I was doing all right. I was with the nature of my job and that, and I've got like a studio at home as well. Like there was plenty I could crack on with, and there was sort of stuff that we were ticking over that was going to be dropping down the line and that. And then I got told to put down my tools. So I was like, right, this is not good. And for someone like me, like I love my work, I love what I do. I'm very fortunate in what I get to do. And I try and be as busy as possible. So to be told not to work, I was a bit like, oh no, like what am I going to do? So I obviously had the gym taken away, can't go outside, got Hassan taken away from me, and now it was like, right, you can't work full stop. I was like, right, what do you do with all this spare time? Like, so yeah, it was a bit of a panic when it all first sort of like, right, you're not allowed to do anything. I was a bit, not going to lie, I lost my head a little bit. So I'm a nightmare to live with at the best of times. Yeah. Because I got put on furlough leave, which again is brilliant, and it's the right thing to do. But like I said, for me, I was just a bit like, right, what am I going to do? So yeah, I'm a bit of a nightmare to live with at the best of times. So suddenly to now find myself with all this spare time, I was a bit like, oh god. So first day was like a Call of Duty, just complete marathon. But there's only so much of that you can do. So then, the rest of the time sort of been, right, okay, a lot of how I approach the situation I find myself in is that I've got all these problems, all these things that I can't control. What's the things I can control? And you might as well focus on them. There's no point focusing on all the bits you can't deal with. So, I just sort of went, right, what is there? So it was, again, going straight back to what I did last year, which was your health, your diet, and your body. So I was like, right, okay, let's just focus on this now. So I've set myself a target that I want to hit before going back to work. And also I want to read books. Like, again, I don't normally find the time or make the time to read. And I've got a couple in the sort of, lined up that I want to read. So I've been doing that, really.
Yeah, brilliant. I know what you mean about the book reading as well. It's it always feels like in such a busy world and with so many distractions, there's always something else to be doing, isn't it?
Well, there's that, and again, like there's a lot of alternatives now. So, like, obviously, like podcasts or audio books and stuff. But I found with audio books, you might not necessarily take it in the same, and you don't. I don't know. There's something about, again, I'm a bit old fashioned as well. I like some songs sound better on vinyl. So in the same way that I like to get all my pictures printed off every sort of 4 to 6 months, I'll send a photo box order off and I'll get all my pictures. So although I love having them on my Mac and all my memory cards and phones and stuff, it's quite nice to have a photo album still. So I guess it was quite similar with the book side of things, that it's quite nice to physically hold a book and sit down and focus on just that. Give something your full attention, rather than, again, I guess, like with all the driving and stuff, I'll listen to all sorts, but it's taking it in properly. Again, it's a bit like if I listen to a podcast, I will sit there and, unless I'm driving, I will sit there and try and listen to it and not do anything else, because otherwise it's just sometimes a bit of background noise, which I guess you don't take it in as well. So
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's that focus, isn't it? Like you say, if you're physically sat down reading a book, that's the only thing you can really be doing, isn't it?
Oh no, 100%. Apart from slurping a tea and maybe the odd Malteser here or there, but yeah, no, definitely giving it me full focus. And again, because I've got a bit of time, and I'm not the fastest as a reader, so I'm thinking, right, okay, if I can fill out a few days with reading and stuff, it's like, okay, well, counting down the days to get back to work, really.
Yeah, what books have you got lined up?
So I finished Ant Middleton's first one. I've started his second one, which was brilliant. Loved them. I like my inspirational YouTube video sort of things, speeches and stuff like that. So that sort of content was going to be prime for me. And that's the first one's more of this is the background of his life, and the second one seems to be a bit more about approaching different scenarios and stuff. And then I've also got things like The Alchemist. I've got a few other ones on order that were like The Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belford's book coming as well. So I'm looking forward to reading that. That should be interesting. Just sort of, I'm not really a story person.
No,
I'm more of a
like that.
Yeah.
Get the facts and the experiences, definitely.
That's it. I wish I still had. I lent. Go on.
Go on. No, go on. You go first, mate.
No, I was going to say, like, I wish I had my original Subsurface journal to read. I lent it to somebody. I've got the 2 and 3, and I never finished either one of them, to be fair. So again, there's something I could pick up now and finish whilst I've got a bit of time. But I remember Subsurface 1 being brilliant. So I wish I still had that to reread or to give to somebody else. But oh well.
No, nice. You mentioned obviously inspirational stuff. Do you follow Jocko Willink? Have you heard of him?
No, not Jocko Willink. What's he about? What's his background?
Navy SEAL. He's got a podcast, really successful actually. I think he originally sort of broke through. He was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast. And Joe Rogan said to him, "Look, you've got so many stories. You know, you're a real nice guy. You need to set up a podcast." And I think he's just gone from strength to strength. But he's very much old school, brutal. Just mindset. Really good. I'll send you a link after. I might stick up on the show notes as well for the podcast. He's,
definitely.
Quite good. Yeah, and again, another podcast. But he's got, I think, several audio books as well. But he's just a hardcore. I mean, he's probably sort of mid-40s now. But still a big bloke and like really in shape. But I think he's got a supplement company now off the back of it and everything else, and training gear, and he's into like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Again, it's quite a popular one, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's a lot of people I follow again for that sort of the sort of mindset and stuff like that side of what I like to follow. A lot of them seem to go down the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu route, I think, again, because they say it's all about control and whatnot. So
yeah. No, I've seen this.
But no, one of them was 12 Rules of Life as well by Jordan Peterson. Again, he's another one that I sort of follow. I quite like his got quite an old school approach to life. Yeah, he's not everyone's cup of tea. And again, I think that's what you tend to find with people like this is that they don't appeal to everybody. Their approach is maybe a bit, almost a bit controversial as well. And like, I don't know, I think they sort of simplify certain situations or to a degree that some people don't like, but I quite like the sort of black and white. It is what it is, or it's not. So
same.
Yeah.
He's did you read about, obviously, because he follows quite an interesting diet, doesn't he, Jordan Peterson? Now,
I don't know.
Him. So he had a lot of issues, I think, health issues, and he pretty much just ended up eating grass-fed beef, and that's it, and just drinking water. Dropped everything. And a bit of salt. Dropped everything else. Vegged a lot. And it cured loads of ailments and issues he had. He had sort of gum disease and stuff. And I think his daughter was quite ill, and she done the same.
She was really ill, wasn't she?
Yeah, and there's a lot. It's strange. I don't know, obviously, the science behind it. But from eating decent quality beef, and that's it. It's
that's
a strange
mental.
one.
Like a lot of people, like, because if you've seen me on social media or like Instagram and stuff, particularly, like, I tracked a lot of what I did on my diet side of things last year.
Yeah.
And again, like, a simple thing is you do notice when you put good fuel in your car, it will run smoother. So if you treat your body like a car, if you put good food in, you're going to perform better, hopefully. So it doesn't surprise me that if he was sticking in good quality meat and I guess nothing else, that's maybe, I thought I like a bit more of a balance, a bit more of a variety. But if, again, horses for courses, whatever works for you, like, it's finding the balance and what's right for you.
No, definitely. So we'll have a little talk in a minute about how you got on with your weight loss and what brought it about. But if you give everyone a bit of an intro into who you are, sort of what you're doing, your background.
Okay. So back when I was 16, when I left school, I found myself with a lot of time, like a lot of year 11s when they leave school do. That summer's a very long summer between college and that's where I first found the ability to go fishing on my own. My dad used to thank me when I was a youngster and stuff, but that was all. It's a bit of a cliche, but you sort of like, people are busy, you don't get much time to go, and you sort of fall out of it. But then come that summer, it was like, okay, I'll go fishing and give it a go, and found carp fishing that very same summer. I was quiver tipping, and some lad turned up named Ryan Thomas. He turned up with his barrow with all this amazing gear, and I was like, oh bloody hell, like, what's all this all about? And I remember he got his buzzers out originally, but then ended up laying his rods on the floor, and his line had picked up, and it went into the reeds, and he jumped in, unhooked it from the reeds, and just got absolutely flat rodded. And I remember just watching it, going like, what is, like, nothing is doing what's happening to that rod to my rod. So what is it? And I remember as it sort of broke the surface when he was bringing it in, I was like, oh my God, it was like a nuclear submarine. Like the big shoulders of this common. Like, it was a 38-pound common in the end, biggest one in the lake. And I was like, if that's what carp fishing's about, that I want a bit of that. So straight away, that was it. Literally, everything else went out the window. It was just carp fishing. And then sort of from there, like, I went down a sort of similar. When I look back, that first 12 months of carp fishing, I was probably fishing 1% of the time. I was casting out god awful rigs, probably straight into weed beds, because the lake I used to fish was incredibly weedy. I was well out of my depth, but I couldn't care less. Like, I loved it, and and it all just sort of spiraled out of control from there. Like, all through college, I would work 1 day a week. I'd go to college the other days. I'd car boot on the weekend to sort of buy and sell stuff on eBay, and then upgrade my tackle slowly. And then it became an obsession. It was like, by the time you sort of get to a level of your gear where you can't upgrade any further from secondhand stuff, it was like, right, okay, every single penny was going into it. And I then sort of found myself going like, right, I want to work in the industry. I don't know what I can do. Completely and utterly clueless as to what skill set I would need. I just went, I want to work for one of the fishing brands within the industry. And I sort of found myself very fortunately put in a position where I could manage a team of promo guys at a bait company, and I was doing their social media at the time as well. And I was like, right, okay, I want content. I'll take a few pictures for myself, and more I was taking, because I was like, right, I want to up the quality, and there's only so much I can be supplied. So I was taking more photos, and then I was like, right, video content is definitely going to be the next sort of progression step in that line of thing for me. So I was like, right, okay. So I started the video editing. Carl Pitcher, who a very close mate of mine, very kindly he started filming his own vlogs, but he couldn't edit. So I was like, oh, send me the footage and I'll put them together. And that was for CC Moore at the time. So that sort of helped my developing my editing skills, because I wasn't fishing and catching as much as Carl was. And then that sort of snowballed from there. And that was, oh God, when would that have been? That would probably have been 2017, I think.
Right.
Maybe 16. So in the grand scheme of things, not too long ago. And then, that opportunity there then opened up the doors to Carpology. Lewis Porter from Fox put my name forward to Joe Wright at Carpology. They were looking to expand into the video world. And yeah, sort of stars aligned, and I found myself at Carpology and loved it. Like, it was brilliant. Well out of my depth, complete. Like, in terms of like being able to produce like professional video content for a company. Like, no previous experience, no formal training, but I just went, right, is it Richard Branson that says it, where he's, you say yes and then work it out afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah.
I found myself at Carpology, and I was making video content and producing pictures for the magazine and stuff, and I loved it. Loved my time there. Sadly, it was a bit shorter than I had hoped it would be, because before I knew it, Nash had been in contact, and they were like, right, we want you to come work for us. And I was like, yes, 100% want to join the team of the likes of Ollie Davis, Carmen Alex, Dan Yeomans, Blair, the rest of the company as well. And yeah, it was just that was mental. You know, I couldn't believe that in that short period of time, how far things had developed and grown. That I'd been approached by Nash. I was like, right, this is unreal. So I then had 2.5 years at Nash. Yeah, took about 2.5 years at Nash. Loved it. It was what you see with the Nash lads is what you get. They're a brilliant bunch of guys in that, and all love to go above and beyond the Call of Duty, and you know they were all grafters and that. And then so I'd met Hassan at Carpology, and again through staying in contact and sort of still being really good mates and that, there was opportunities that come up at Angling Direct. There was a job opportunity, applied for it, and here I am now. I'm lucky to be working for AD alongside Hassan and the rest of the team within the media team, and that's now been that would have started back end of August last year. So
right,
I think that's coming up to about 8 months now, 7-8 months.
yeah.
So yeah, and that's sort of me up to current date in terms of from very beginning to where I am now work wise.
Yeah, nice. How does your role with Angling Direct sort of compare to your role at Nash? Is it very similar? I mean, talk us through like a typical day, when we're not in lockdown, I should say.
God, when we're not on lockdown, there isn't really. The only sort of consistent is a Thursday with Hassan. Like, I'll speak to Hassan at some point during the week. He's got the list of people, and they're all in the calendar and stuff. But I don't. Anything can change. In this line of work or in this industry, it seems that things can just turn on a sixpence. And like on the Wednesday, I'll be like, right, okay, I've got to go to the Cotswolds tomorrow. Then I'll get a phone call right in the evening going, actually, Lewis, we're going to go to Lincolnshire. I'm like, okay, right, fair enough. But majority of the time, a Thursday is spent with Hassan and with a guest from within the industry doing an AD live. That is all covered media-wise, so it can go in Hassan's vlog. He then does a live in the evening. Apart from that, a typical week, anything can happen. If it weren't for lockdown, myself and Hassan would have been in Germany at the start of this month with Mark Vusen.
Right.
Then we would have been. What would have been this week? I think we would have had. I was supposed to be on holiday. I was actually supposed to be in Greece at the moment. Next week was supposed to be with Blair. Blair was doing a bit of a angling. He was supposed to be doing an AD tour of some of the northern shops. So he was going to do like sort of a few shop open evenings and stuff in all them. So I would have been there with Hassan to cover them as well. Product stuff, quick bites. We're lucky at AD that there is a team that sort of we delegate the work out between ourselves and sort of spread the workload, which is nice. But yeah, the sort of core videos that we try and do is a product video, some advanced videos, and a quick bite. And then I like to personally try and do one larger film a month, which might be Matt Hayes and Mick Brown, or Carl and Alex, or I try and get Hassan's vlog out every other month.
Right. So I'd imagine, I mean, I've said it before on here, the editing side is very labour intensive, isn't it, for videos?
Yeah, it all sort of depends. Just I'm very fortunate. I've always worked from home, I'm quite good at managing my time. I like to think I'm good at managing my time. Probably not in the sense that I don't know when to switch off, but like if I know that something's not working or I'm not in the right frame of mind to edit or not in the flow, I won't keep banging my head against the wall. I'll put it down.
Yeah, that's really
I'll go make
important.
a cup of tea and I'll walk away.
Yeah.
That's it. And rather than wasting that time, I'll then go and do. I might change projects and get some translating done because that's less. You've got to be less creative for that. That's literally doing.
Yeah.
It's like putting a pencil together. You just put this to this and this to this. Like it's easy. You don't have to think about it too much. Whereas with the editing, yeah, you've got to be in the right flow. And then so the Matt Hayes Mick Brown video. I think that in the end, I think I committed to like 4 days on that edit in the end. Right. Whereas the Carl and Alex one, I had the rough cut out within a day, 24 hours. Like, it just literally sat down and it just flowed. It's all come out, and I was like, oh well, like this is brilliant. So again, like that is a lot more to the work than the filming. Like I love going out filming and that, and it's brilliant. but the more you film, you just go, you know that it's going to be 2 or 3 times more time editing than the actual film itself. So, and again, I guess it comes down to the planning. Like how I like to do my product videos is there's nothing really left on the editing floor. I shoot to a shot list. I get exactly what I need to get shot, and that's that. So that's very much like putting together a jigsaw. Once I've got my list, if I shoot that list, I know I've got my video. Anything else is a bonus, like anything else to make it a bit more glossy and a bit more lovely. But I just know if I go out, I tick off them shots. I know that when I get home, it's a case of going pop, 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 and it's in and it's done. There it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the larger videos, things. Yeah. What's that? Sorry.
I was going to say, so it's all systemized, really, by the sounds of it. You've got it all set up, ready to go.
Yeah. Also, yeah, especially when there's things like that, when like product videos and stuff, which they're not the most exciting videos out there at times. I like to try and keep the structure because otherwise you end up wasting time. You know, you'll go out and you'll shoot a load of stuff, and then you've got a load of waste or stuff that you just don't need. And I'm very structured. I like to be structured and organised. I like everything to have its place, its purpose, and I like to be the most efficient with my time as I can. Time's precious, you know. If I invested more time, not wasted, nothing, no, time's never wasted. If I invested more time into product videos, I'd have less time to invest into Hassan's vlog or the shark fishing video or something a bit more enjoyable that maybe people will subscribe to your channel or whatever to watch rather than that product thing. Or alternatively, I can just get more done. I love nothing more than just ticking off stuff. If I've got a list, I love working through a list and just scraping everything off and going, right, tick, 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 tick. So when you're structured and organised, when you work to a method and it works as well, yeah, I just get a buzz out of just producing content.
Yeah, no, it's nice. And like you say, that feeling of completing each task before you move on to the next one, it's quite important, isn't it?
No, definitely.
So, are you self-taught? Well, how did you learn to do all the video editing and even like the shooting side of things?
That was all sort of self-taught. Again, it was a bit like with the photography in that. My mate Dan Whitford was with me at Mad Baits, was the bait company that we were both at, where we met. And I had a Canon 400D, quite a dated camera at the time, and he had a 700D, and I was like, oh wow. And he said, oh, like this can do video. And I was like, okay, well, I want to upgrade my photography side of things anyway, so I'll get a 700D, and if I want to muck about with a bit of video, I can. And that's sort of where that sort of stemmed from. It was like I sort of took. There's lots of rules to videography, or there's supposed to be rules to videography, but if you get something's better than nothing. So no matter how you shoot it, or whatever the settings were, or what camera was used, as long as you've got something, whether that's on your phone or whatever, you can use it. So it was kind of like make it up as I go along, try and learn. So a lot of that, yeah, in terms of the shooting, I just treated it a lot like photography. If something looked good as a photo, it would probably look good as a video clip as well. So I'll take a picture, then I'll probably film it for a few seconds. And those early edits were literally just, because at the time, Instagram would only allow 15 seconds. So all I was going was like, right, I've got 15 seconds. I'll find a song and I'd edit to the beat a lot. So I'd go, right, within that 15 seconds, there's 8 beats, 8 changes. So all I need is 8 video clips, 8 nice shots to piece together. There was no structure or no story to it. It was kind of just going, oh, let's just make a nice looking video, nice carpy looking video. And that's how it developed. It then went from that to going, oh, right, I can post a minute on Instagram or Facebook. Let's do that. And then the sort of demands changed than before. And I was at Carpology. So, yeah, it was all self-taught. It was just going through YouTube and just going with it. Just a lot of people do message and ask, oh, we've got any tips for video editing or, for video production and stuff. And I'm just like, just do it. Don't be disheartened if the first attempt isn't right. Just carry on going. And like I'm a firm believer in steady progress is better than delayed perfection. Nothing will ever be perfect. There's no video that I've ever produced that I've gone, that is literally like, that is spot on perfect. I can pick fault in absolutely everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as it's better than the one I did before, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's a really good answer, mate, and very true, because you could almost get paralysed by the perfection side of things if you're not careful, aren't you?
Well, that's it, and then you end up not putting anything out, and then like especially in a world where literally today's news is tomorrow's chip paper or whatever they're saying, it like everything just moves so so quickly, and the best thing you can do is just carry on producing and putting stuff out, and look, as long as things improve and things get better and you sort of get the basics right, things will get, things do improve. Don't be disheartened. I think it's Gary Vaynerchuk that says one's better than zero. If you've got one person watching or listening or viewing something, that's better than no one doing it. So work to that audience, do that, and over time, the audience hopefully will grow because your content will improve and things develop. That's just the natural progression of things. Carl and Alex didn't get to 140,000 subscribers in 2 days. They've been doing it since they were under the age of 10.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to ask as well, how's your kit evolved from back then to that early Canon 400D to what you've got now? Talk us through some of your kit you've got now.
I look like a Ninja Turtle now when I walk around with my rucksack. I've still got my rucksack that Ollie Davis very kindly lent me when I first started at Nash. He said, "You're going to need a rucksack," and I was like, "I don't know which one to go for." And he went, "Here you go, like I've got an old one. Use this for now until you get a new one." And I've never upgraded. And he very kindly, when I left Nash, let me keep it. So yeah, like I said, I look like a Ninja Turtle. It sort of went from a Canon 400D to a 700D, and that was okay. It did the job, and it was within my price bracket. The first proper lens I'd say I bought was a 24 to 70mm f4 Canon lens, L series. Still use it to this day. It's probably the most versatile and best lens. If anyone ever asked me what lens should I buy, that's the one I send them. If they don't want a prime lens, which is like a fixed focal length, I will always suggest to them a 24 to 7. If they've got a Canon, obviously if they've got a Nikon or a Sony or something like that, then obviously they'll have to go for something different. But that's like the go-to. And like I said, I've still got it. And I made the crossover to the Sony bodies when I went to Nash, because I was using Canon 5D Mark IIIs at Carpology. I was fortunate they had two of them, so I had two camera angles to work with, one for photography or the second camera angle, and then one for the video side of it. And there was a variety of lenses. Again, I look back and I was like, bloody, I was really kitted out at Carpology, and I didn't. I guess I didn't make the most of it. Knowing it's one of them, if you could go back and do it again, I'd love to. I didn't want to leave Carpology because I didn't feel my time was finished there. But for me to develop and grow as a videographer, to go from being an individual teaching myself to then be surrounded by some of the best in the industry, it's a no-brainer. And that was like the massive jump. And I was very lucky that I managed to cherry pick stuff off of everybody. Yeomans is a brilliant editor. Ollie is a fantastic photographer and videographer. Like, he's brilliant. And then Carl and Alex, again, in their ability to just make stories and sort of develop and go like that. I managed to cherry pick bits from each one of them and bring them into my own work. So I'm forever grateful for that.
No.
And then so at Nash it was a Canon lenses, because I had an armory of lenses by that point. Everyone sort of invested into themselves and stuff, so everyone had Canon lenses and Sony bodies. And then when I made the switch to AD, I just sort of said to myself, if ever I'm going to make the change to native lenses to Sony, it's now. I had like a month period between leaving Nash and starting at AD. So I put in a request for X amount of gear through AD. I sold all of my Canon lenses and bought a few Sigma straight to Sony lenses. And yeah, I've still got my Sony A7 III, A7R2 rather. That's my own personal camera. Then I've got one through work and a few lenses and a few bits and bobs. But yeah, I like to keep majority of my own kit. It's just one of them. Like, I'd be
Yeah.
lost without it. There was a period between Nash and AD where I kept one lens, one body, whilst I sold everything else, and I was lost. You just find yourself completely and utterly lost with like all this kit you've had over this whole time. You go out fishing or whatever, and suddenly you can't use it, and I'm just like, I've lost my arm, I've lost my leg.
Yeah.
Like, I don't quite know. A lot of my fishing is about being able to share it. So to not be in a position to be able to document it how I'd normally do it was aliens. I was just like, this is strange. Like, I caught my PB between that in that time, and it's the first fish in all that time that I didn't record.
Right.
And at the time, I was quite pleased. I was like, I'm not going to film it. I don't need to film it. I don't need to film any of this. But I look back and I go, I wish I had some footage of that morning, because that morning on Grenville and stuff like that. They have brilliant sunrises over on Grenville. It's mental. Like, there's never a dull one unless it's like real clouded over and that. And it was amazing, and that it was a cool fish. Like, loved it. I got some lovely shots of it, but I've got no video footage, and that's the first one. Like, it's been nice in this lockdown to go back through my old hard drives and find the old footage of. I've rejoined the syndicate that I first started on, so I've got all them old pictures, and that's where I started filming. So I can look back and go, bloody, like, I've changed loads. My hat's not changed, but it's mental to see the development and how things have changed. Just again, I look back and just the simple things like getting your horizon straight and stuff like that. Like, I just think, God, I used to put that out, but that's nice. I like having that ability to look back on. Pictures are great. I love having pictures and stuff, but a bit of video content or a bit of a video clip says so much more. It's nice to be. They're nice memories to have.
It's documenting the journey, isn't it, as well? Your journey.
Oh, massively, massively. And again, at some point over this lockdown period, I want to sit down and go through and make a nice video. It'll just be all B-roll. There won't be any talking, because God, I'm surprised you've got me on here because my voice is absolutely awful. But it's it'll just literally be just going through like everything that I've got. I'm gutted I didn't make a copy of stuff that I filmed at Nash, because there were so many good memories at Nash that were documented and not used on certain projects. I'm just like, like, it would be nice to have the access to them folders and be able to look at that old footage, and it just makes you smile, bit of a pick me up. Like, if I'm feeling bad or I'm feeling down, I'm having a bit of a down day, I'll look at old videos, or I'll make something. Like, just before lockdown, just before being put on furlough, I made a subscribe to ADTV video, which is just basically a collection of all the bits that are on there. And it was really nice just to make a short edit of all of the good times. You find all the laughing bits, you find all the humour in that, and it just picks you up and makes you feel better. I just love making content, and making video content in particular.
Nice. Yeah, it's good. But as a creative, it's just there's that just satisfying feeling during it.
Massively.
You touched on your personal fishing. Why don't we talk a bit about that? Sort of where are you fishing at the minute? Or
this is going to be short. Oh God, this is going to be short. So it's actually a fair point. I've got to renew my syndicate ticket, to be fair. I got a syndicate ticket last year. It's a lake that I live in like the epicenter of a load of schools. So like come 8:30 or 3:00 in the afternoon, it is a nightmare around here. But I live that close to this syndicate, I can get there in less than 10 minutes. Even when like there's literally, it's hectic. On a clean run, I can get there in 2-3 minutes. It's nothing. It's so close, and it's got one fish left in it that I really, really want to catch. I've caught majority of the rest. It's the one target fish that I never caught back when I used to fish it. So I got that last year. I got that in the April of last year, and I fished it 4 times, 4-day sessions. And I done one night which was just before lockdown as well. Like the lockdown started, not the furlough, but just the lockdown in general when we could all go out. So I've done one night in a year, and that's on my doorstep. It's got something in it that I want to catch. It's got everything. You know, like I love it because you can go around stalking, you can go and find them, but even that I didn't make the time, which was gutting. You know, I'm gutted to say that. I'm gutted that it's still the case that, but it's just how people get their buzz differently. You know, I learned to get my buzz from fishing in a different way quite quickly at Carpology. I get my buzz out of going down and seeing someone and taking their picture for them, or making a nice video, or something like in a different way. It doesn't necessarily have to be me fishing now. I love it and will always be an angler, but for me, it's finding that balance of. Again, it comes down to what you choose to invest your time into. At this moment in time in my life, I don't have the time to go fishing as much. I will either, like everybody, you've got to weigh up what the alternative is. I could go fishing, but what else could I do in that 24 hours?
Exactly.
Could I, you know, if you go for a night, you could spend time with the missus, you could spend time with the family, you could spend time working more, you could go out with your friends who don't fish. You know, there's so much more to life than fishing, which is, you know, it's true. You know, there is so much more to life than fishing. The lovely thing about fishing is you can pick it up at any point. It never, if you're an angler, it will never leave you, and things don't change too. Like, you know, you could step away from the industry or step away from fishing for 5, 6 years, 10 years, and come back into it. And okay, yes, tackle might have adjusted slightly, but the basics will still be there. The carp will still be the same. If you've got a basic understanding of knowledge, you could never tie another rig and go forward in 10 years and then pick up your rig box and put out that exact same rig with a new hook bait on it, and it would still catch a fish. So in time, I will make more time. I will go more, and I will pick up
where
that.
your priorities
It's quite nice,
isn't it?
that's it, you know. And again, like a lot of last year, my priority was myself. It was looking after myself and sorting that aspect of myself out. That meant, that fishing kind of had to take a bit of a back step.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned there that little quote you said about what you could be doing in that 24 hours. That's something that plays in my head massively as a business owner as well. There's always something I can be doing in the business, and I'm always, it's almost like the angel and the devil scenario on my shoulders when I go fishing. And I feel guilty for going, and then it's a real weird one. It's hard to put into words, that feeling, but I sort of go and I'm thinking, I should, I could be doing this, I could be doing that, because it's a long time, even like an overnighter or 24-hour session. There's a lot of, like, air quotes, productive, or meaningful things you could do in that time, isn't there?
100%. And again, it helps if you've got an understanding partner as well, or somebody that sort of does it in that as well. But to sometimes try and justify that to a non-angler at times can be quite difficult. But again, it's like we all get 24 hours in a day. It's our choice as to how we use it. You know, no one has more time than others. It's all about how we prioritize it, or how we decide to break it up, or again, ultimately what our priorities are. So again, to weigh it up and that, you've kind of got to go. There's a lot of dead time, but there's limited things you can do from the bank. I know that I can't edit while I'm fishing. There's some people that can. You know, Alex, Carl and Alex could. You know, he'd take a leisure battery, he'd take his laptop, and he would put his rods out and he'd start editing, and he could do it. I can't do that. So, and it's a bit like, again, a common question is, do you get to put your rods out much when you go filming? I tend not to, because you don't do either one properly.
No,
Like,
exactly.
if I put my rods out and I film, I don't fish properly, defeating the object of going fishing for me. Like, if I can't give it 100%, there's a limited point. But I also don't film properly, which is ultimately what I'm being paid to do. So I'd much rather make sure that if something happens, I document it correctly. I get the correct footage, I do it to the best of my ability, then go catch fish. So that's never an argument in my head. I always, I never go anywhere expecting to catch. Fortunately, at AD, there's been lots of opportunities where we've gone out on a live with Hassan and the guest. Hassan's caught enough, the guest's caught enough for the piece, and then I can stick my rod, or they'll give me a rod and I can have a few casts with it and hopefully catch a perch or a pike or whatever. So that's quite fortunate. But if I was to never cast out whilst on the job, I wouldn't be too fussed. I've been very fortunate to go to some brilliant places and not have fished them, and that doesn't burn me as long as I come away with a nice piece of content.
Yeah, no, nice. And you're absolutely right. You can't do both properly. So I try and do a bit of work on the laptop or on the iPad, even just doing that, like ordering kit, invoicing, quoting.
Yep.
You're not looking at the water. You'll sort of feel, tied to where you are. And yeah, so it's just a constant juggle.
And again, it comes back to that sort of where you weigh it up. Like there's lots of admin or not so fun jobs to this, backing up folders, labeling folders, labeling bits and bobs, and it's time consuming. And I kind of go, right, it even got down to the point where I was arguing with myself to go to the gym. Like I in the end, the gym would always win because it was like, right, health before anything, and like that was how I was getting my fix. And my turn off time was like I'd switch off completely when I went. But like I go, if I work another 2 or 3 hours today, doing these little jobs that I know need to be done, I don't have to do them tomorrow. And it means that I can sort of free up that time, or I can get ahead. If someone works 6 hours and I work 9, well, I'm going to get that bit. I'm going to get to wherever I want to go a little bit quicker than someone else. That's my theory on work, and that's it. I've got plans, or I've got an idea in my head. Plans are brilliant. They never go to them, but I've got an aim, or I've got somewhere I want to be, and I know the only thing between me, where I am now, and where I want to be is working. So if I work that bit harder now, I can get there that little bit quicker. And fishing can come then. I can go fishing when I like once I get there. So
yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great answer, mate. It seems like a very level-headed approach, mature approach. How old are you, Lewis?
I'm 25. I turned 25 on Saturday.
Right. Yeah. See, that's a real mature outlook for someone your age, for sure.
I like to think I've quite often been said I'm 25 going on 50. So I don't know whether that's someone politely telling me I'm boring and old, or like just. But no, it's yeah.
On that note, one
I've
of the
always had
questions
that
from
approach.
yeah, no, it's a good way to be, definitely. Someone on Instagram has said, "When do you sleep?" That's obviously relating to your work ethic.
I sleep when I need to. It's one of them. Like I know the way I work now isn't sustainable forever. So while I can do it, I will do it. So like I was fortunate in my previous relationship. It was a long distance relationship. We were together for like 3.5, 4 years. It was brilliant, and she had a very good understanding of what the industry was about and stuff. So the way I saw it was that because it was long distance, when we were together, we were together. Like I would try and not work. I would work. I would still do bits of editing, but not as much. So my idea was that if I worked my socks off between that time, I could really enjoy the time we had together. So it was like, I don't need to sleep, like, and you ride the waves of it as well. Like, I don't know, it's just one of them. Like, I love sleep, and don't get me wrong, this lockdown's done me bloody absolute wonders because I've slept more in the last week than I have done for God knows how long. But I think Casey Neistat said that he believes that you can swap exercise for sleep and not feel the effects of it. And I do half believe that as well. And I know that one of the freestyle fishing guys, gone.
Yeah. No, go on. You carry on. I'll come on to it after you finish.
One of the freestyle fishing guys, he goes he goes, I think he said he goes vegan or vegetarian in the summer because it's again, it comes down to that fuel in your body. He believes that lifestyle suits him best and whatnot, but it also allows him. He can sleep. He only sleeps 4 hours a night in the summer
Right.
because because he's a content creator and he's very fortunate, or he's not very fortunate because he's worked hard to get where he is. But he travels the world to all these different destinations and goes and catches all these amazing fish. So to maximise that time, so he doesn't need to sleep as much, he fuels his body in a correct way. So he will live off like 4 hours sleep every night, all summer, all spring, summer, and autumn. So come the winter, right, he'll go back to normal. But I say normal, what is normal? But he'll go back to a sort of regular diet. So he'll sleep more because the days are shorter. But to maximise the daylight hours, he'll adapt his thing and he won't sleep much. And again, I'd like to think I'm similar in ways that come the spring and summer and that, I want to get as much done as possible. Like, we've been very lucky in this winter particularly, that we've still managed to produce as much content as we have. But like, I was absolutely buzzing for April, May, June because fishing was going to be on the turn. Things were going to making fishing content becomes a lot easier when the fish are easier to catch. So I'm like, right, I want to make as much as possible. So at times, like, I'll get a phone call at like 4 a.m. and I'll go and take photos of a fish at 6, 7. I'll go home, edit them pictures and whatnot. I'll start my normal work. I'll do a bit of this, that, and the other, all during the day. The heat of the day, I'll probably stay at home and do a bit of editing. Come the evening, like, I say evening, like come like 3, 4 o'clock, I'll go out, start filming. You can be out filming till 9, 10 o'clock. Like, and I'm not maximising that day. So then trying to throw in the gym as well, like, because again, I like that switch off time, and that's my sort of one of my buzzes at the moment, or was, because obviously you can't go to the gym at the moment. Was that it was harder for me to take myself in the evening, so I was like, right, I'll go in the morning, but I don't want it to affect too much my day, my existing day. So when can I go? 4 o'clock. Get up at 4. Be in the gym for 4:15. Do an hour and a half. Go to Tesco's. Get my whatever I want for the day. Again, another thing from this lockdown is I've learned I don't need to go to Tesco's every day. But getting into a routine and a rhythm, that would be it. I go to the gym, go to Tesco's, come back, and it would be 6, 7 o'clock. I've still got the whole day ahead of me. I'll do my emails. I'll send whatever. I'll send Hassan an abusive text. Then start my normal whatever I'd be doing. And then come the evening, I'm like, come the early afternoon, I've kind of done everything that is on my to-do list for the day. I'll go, let's start on tomorrow's. Let's do this. And that's just how I like to function. Every so often, I have a crash or whatnot, and I'm like, I don't get up at 4 every single morning. I try to, but sometimes you need a bit more sleep. So
yeah, definitely. There's a book. Obviously, you mentioned about books. I did that. I was getting up at 4 for quite a while, and I listened to, again, it's from the Joe Rogan podcast, a sleep expert called Matthew Walker. Have you heard that episode?
No. But go on.
It's really, really good. He's British actually, but he was on. I think he's got a book out as well now called Why We Sleep. I highly recommend listening to that.
Right.
Because obviously there's a sort of a bit of a link between, like all the power people that would typically get, like the greats who would get 4 hours sleep, like Maggie Thatcher. I can't think off the top of my head some others, and it was all they're saying that there's a big link between that and developing these. I can't remember if it's Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, one of the two, from all these people that were just regularly living on 4 hours sleep. So. And it's a real fascinating show. I've listened to it several times. I'll dig out the number of it because obviously Joe Rogan's done thousands of podcasts. The guy's named Matthew Walker, and it's brilliant, and it really is a game changer. But well worth a listen or a read.
No, definitely. Again, I think it was more like, again, listening to all these sort of inspirational videos and whatnot. A lot of them talk about 4 o'clock and whatnot, and again, lots of it. A lot of it's not transferable. A lot of it is literally, it goes in one ear, comes out the other. Like I can't relate to it, but there's certain things that you do relate to, and you kind of click to it, and you're like, okay, right, that's something I can implement into my life. And a lot of it's like, do it now. So again, in the morning, I'll try and do everything I can in the morning, because if I go, I'll do it later. Sod's law, come later on, you're not going to. Like, so
something else pops up,
then
doesn't it, to get in the way?
something else
Life
pops
gets in
up.
the way.
Something else always pops up, or like, yeah, you're not feeling up to it. So if you can do it now. Like, it's how I like to try and do everything, and that's where like this whole furlough thing is not good for me, because I'm like, right, I just want to do work. I just want to get it
like
done.
you
I've
say,
got these
you can
ideas.
you can spin it kind of. You're of the right mindset to know you'll soon have that spun round into a big positive with lots of opportunities, rather than it being a negative.
Well, Hassan gives me a lot of stick for being negative. I like to think I'm a realist. I overanalyze everything, and that's not always a positive. But I prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But a lot of it, a lot of what I try and put out is positive. And I'll get people message me about this, that, and the other. I go, well, what's the alternative? Is I'll send them a message, and it's basically spinning on his head and put the positive side of it. Think, oh, what how can you be so positive about it? It's well, what's the alternative? Is to sit there and dwell on it and not try and deal with it. You've got two choices. You can either sit there and moan about it, or you can do something about it. And doing something about it tends to be a positive in any sort of fashion. So, yes, I can be a negative person. I do love a moan. I won't ever hide that. But I will always argue that I am a positive person deep down, and I will try and put as much positivity out as I possibly can.
You can see it as well in people that like to play the victim and have that victim mentality. It's just so, once you're aware of people, you think, whoa, how do you get? It's like they're almost waiting to blame someone or something.
Well, again, it's not always a healthy way to do it. But again, a lot of what I did last year was that, and then what I continue to do is accept responsibility for everything. If things are good, things are good. Yep, sweet. I'm more than happy to take responsibility for part of that. But if things are bad, you can do what everyone else does, or, well, like you said, play the victim and go, well, it's not my fault. But if you say, it is my fault, what can I do to change it? You'll find yourself the ability to be able to change that situation. If you accept responsibility for the way things are, you can then adjust, and then you can change to that. And
look for solutions.
Exactly that. And again, like that then just brings more positivity towards you. And again, it's also a much healthier way to deal with situations. Like, yeah.
Not only that, as well, with typical sort of human thinking, it's never as bad as we make out when we're worrying as well. When we start to worry about something, like you said, when you say, what is the alternative, you start to flip it on its head. That thing that you're worrying about, probably 9 times out of 10 is never going to happen anyway. So what's the point in bloody worrying in the first place? Because nothing good comes of it.
It's exactly that. There's two things. So obviously, reading the Fear Bubble now from Ant Middleton, that talks about this very situation, is that you don't need to worry about certain things. You don't let it ruin your whole day. If you've got a problem, you wait till you have to absolutely deal with it, or you find your approach and you get through that little bubble. But then there's also like Jordan Peterson, who says bad things are going to happen regardless. Terrible situations are going to happen, but it's our decision whether we will make it a bad situation or absolute hell. Like, you have the choice to make that situation 10 times worse just by your attitude to it. Yes, the bad things are going to happen. That's inevitable. But you can choose to beat yourself up and make it worse and play it through your head again and again and again and again and make it even worse than what it is. That's all your choice.
Yeah, that's completely true. It's like I say, you can't control the situation, but you can control how you react to it.
Massively.
Yeah, I love that. I've got a question. We're doing a rotary letter style question, because I'm doing one podcast a day. And the question is, so it's from Sam and Pete that do like another carp fishing podcast, the Carp Angler Chronicles. Give them a little shout out. And it's so if you're on a water targeting a specific carp, how would you go about sort of trying to catch it? Would you typically go down like a bait and wait route, maybe get a spot going, or would you try and stalk it by sort of sussing out its patrol routes, get something going in the edge? How would you do it?
I'd love to do it in the edge. Like I did it briefly before going to Nash, the whole stalking around and stuff, but waters changed and stuff, and like I couldn't. Or I changed waters, so that approach wasn't necessarily as easy to do. But like when I went and filmed half a wrap with Ollie for Nash, like that type of fishing is just addictive, and it also I love it, but it kind of ruined other aspects of my fishing. Like I can't. I find it very difficult now to just go and stick out. I guess it depends on the water, but a lot of the time I find it very difficult to just get the same buzz out of just putting rods out in the middle of the pond, not being able to see what's going on in that. I love walking around the edges, baiting bits in the edge and watching them come in, and 9 times out of 10 do me over completely. I love coming in, they feed on little bits and bobs. I've got my rig down, I can watch it, and they leave it completely alone, and they just eat everything else and then go. Like I love that style of fishing. So the one carp, the common that is in my syndicate now, I did have it feeding. I filmed it through my Polaroids and stuff. It was brilliant, and there is no better buzz than that. And I was like, it come down to there was 2 baits down there. I couldn't tell which one was my hook bait. There was 2 there, and I'm watching it. It's going in, going in, going. Sucked one in, and it shook his head, and I was like, oh, right, this is it. It spat it out, and then swam off. So I've pulled the rig out, and it wasn't that one. So for whatever reason, it reacted how it reacted off of just a hook, like just a random boilie with nothing on it. And I was just like, but you wouldn't see that from just casting it into the middle and that. So like for me personally, if I had the choice between baiting a spot and getting a spot going and playing a numbers game, I'd almost say that's a numbers game, you know, because you're going to catch loads of. You'd probably catch more of the stock doing it that way. I'd much rather go and individually stalk it out, because also I think that's, of my type of fishing, my limited time, that's the more doable. Don't get me wrong, I love putting out a hell of a lot of boilie and just run after run after run. I've been very fortunate that's happened a couple of times. But if I could choose to stalk them out the edge, then 100% that'd be my choice.
Nice, that's a great answer. Thank you. Have you got a question we can pass on to our next guest?
From a photography point of view, then, if you could photograph any fish, I'm not going to limit it to a carp, but you know, it'd probably end up being a carp. But if you could photograph any fish, past or present, and who would you do it for? What fish would it be, and who would it be for?
Nice. We've had a similar one to that already, but yours is a slightly different spin. So we'll keep it in.
Fair
That's
enough.
fine. If you could throw any fish, past, present, where and who. What would your answer be to that one, out of interest? Yes?
I'd probably say any carp for me old man, because I posted it recently on Instagram, a picture of me and him. But like when I used to fish on this syndicate, he used to come down like all the time and do all my photos for me. And like because it's so close and that, like it'd be in the net, I could ring him and he'd be there within 10 minutes max. He'd put down whatever he's doing, he'd come do it. But that was like, I miss them days, and that having him as my photographer. But obviously things have developed. But it's also like he doesn't get much time for his own fishing. So like for me to be able to return the favour and it just be a nice carp, like because again, like so, what a lot of like the butterfly effect. It's funny how individual choices will change things so much. The year that I decided that I wanted to get into video editing, I was supposed to be going to France with my dad, and things happened. He broke his leg, and basically it was like, right, we can't really afford to continue with the trip, but managed to find the money. And I said to me that, like, I really want to get into this video editing. Like, this is where I want to see my thing. And he, you know, my mum and my brothers and that sort of said, like, no, you can't buy an iMac. You're supposed to be going to France. Like, you know, that's your priority. And I was like, I know. But, you know, things are tight. Things are difficult. Already, like, if we go to France, it's more time off work. It's more this, it's more that. Like, I rationalised it in my head. And my dad turned around and said to me, Lewis, get the iMac. Don't worry about it. We can go to France anytime. Had that not happened, I wouldn't have the career that I've got now. I wouldn't be into video editing. I wouldn't be a photographer. I wouldn't be a videographer. All off of that one thing. So I'd love to, like, for that answer, like, I'd love to be able to give something back and that, take them nice pictures and get a bit of footage of me and him. Like again, like, there's not many pictures of us together, so I'd love to have a brace shot with him, self take. So I still, that's me technically taking the picture, but that's what I'd like. You know, I'd give nothing. I'd give everything up for a few pictures and a few memories like that. So
quality. That's a great answer. I love that. And it's all about sharing that buzz as well, isn't it, with people?
Mate, you know, I guess in the grand scheme of things, I haven't caught many fish in my time, like, you know, in the grand scheme of things, in comparison to other people. But I've been fortunate to catch some wicked fish. You know, I love my album, but my favourite pictures, video footage is with other people. Like, it's all like, I get that fishing can be deemed as a very individual sport, but it's very fortunate there's so many nice people within fishing, and I've got so many good memories with so many different people from all over the industry, from all different walks of life, not just in the industry. Fishing's one of them sports where you can find yourself sat on a bait bucket with two guys next to you. One of them will be an investment banker, one of them will be working on an oil rig, and like there's literally no difference between us for that period of time. But you can come from any walk of life, and none of that matters. So, and that's what I love about it, is that it brings together the strangest cocktail of people at times. And again, the vast majority of anglers are nice people, and like, if you get on with people and you can have a laugh and that, like, you'll have brilliant memories. And it's not that you won't remember there's certain fish you might remember, certain scale patterns, but like majority of the time you won't remember a fish. You'll remember the time around that because of the people that made that time special. The people on the lake, the people at the shows, the individuals you've worked with, whatever, the guests you've had on. Like, it's people at the end of the day that make life worthwhile, not just fishing. So to share memories and to share buzzes with people and to have a laugh and just stuff like that's brilliant. What fishing's about for me.
No, absolutely, mate. All about the experiences. I completely agree with that answer. What we'll do, we'll wrap up very shortly. One last thing I'm getting everyone to do is, just for a bit of fun, sketch a carp in 60 seconds, film it, and then send it across to me. And I'm just going to do like a little competition just for fun, like A versus B,
God.
to see who wins. Don't worry, honestly.
Right,
don't worry.
Okay, then, fair enough.
The bar hasn't been set very high. So from the current entries.
Okay, so 60 seconds to draw a carp.
Yeah, just sketch it and just ping it across to me on Instagram, or I'll give my WhatsApp, whatever. We'll wrap up there. Brilliant. Lewis, thank you very much for your time. Really enjoyed that one.
Thank you very much for having me on. Right, perfect. Thanks very much, and make sure you send over the links to those other podcasts and books and that, mate. So take care, and stay home, stay safe. Take care, mate.